Hey all, and welcome back to our channel. So, let's talk about something that's been making a lot of noise lately, the whole situation between Jimmy Kimmel, Donald Trump, and ABC. It's one of those stories that's bigger than just late-night TV, because it touches on free speech, political pressure, and even how much influence a president can have over what we see on television. Here's the setup. Jimmy Kimmel, who's never been shy about criticizing Trump, made some really sharp comments following the tragic assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. He implied that the killer was tied to the MAGA movement, which, as you can imagine, set off a storm among Trump supporters. Now, Kimmel's words didn't just get backlash online. They sparked actual political pressure. Trump's allies, including FCC officials, suggested that ABC could risk its broadcasting license if it didn't take action against him. Imagine that, a late-night joke turning into a federal-level fight. Do you think that's going too far? Or is it just part of the political game? Under that pressure, ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live for several days. That move sent shockwaves through the media world, with many people asking whether ABC was standing up for its talent or simply folding under political weight. What would you expect a network to do in that situation? Protect the host, or protect the business? When Kimmel finally returned to the air, he didn't hold back. He went straight at Trump, mocking him for trying to prove he wasn't threatening ABC while, in the same breath, threatening ABC. One of his lines was basically, only Donald Trump would try to prove he wasn't threatening ABC by threatening ABC. And honestly, whether you like Kimmel or not, you have to admit that's a pretty sharp observation. He also reminded people that Trump himself has some of the lowest approval ratings of any president and joked about welcoming him to what he called the crappy ratings club. That kind of comeback shows Kimmel isn't planning on softening his tone anytime soon. And this raises a bigger question. How much power should politicians have when it comes to media and entertainment? If a joke or a monologue can trigger the government to step in, what does that say about the state of free speech? Is it a dangerous precedent? Or do you think late-night hosts sometimes cross a line and need accountability? What's interesting is that the backlash wasn't just from liberals. Even people like Republican Senator Ted Cruz said the FCC's threats were dangerous. Former President Barack Obama called it outright coercion. More than 100 former ABC journalists signed a letter urging Disney's CEO, Bob Iger, to defend free speech. And other late-night hosts, like Stephen Colbert, openly slammed ABC for bowing to pressure. So this isn't just about one man with a microphone. It became a debate about the independence of the press and whether comedy should be censored. Kimmel himself framed it in a very simple way. He said he talks about Trump so much because Trump is a bully, and he doesn't like bullies. He even compared Trump to Biff Tannen from Back to the Future, the classic movie villain who picks on people just because he can. And that kind of metaphor sticks because it makes you think, is satire just comedy, or is it a form of standing up to power? The bigger takeaway here is about balance. We're at this crossroads where comedy, politics, and corporate interests are colliding. If networks are too afraid to air controversial commentary, what does that mean for other comedians, journalists, or even regular people online? Could we end up in a world where people hesitate to speak their mind out of fear of government pushback? Or is this just another example of political theater that won't really change how things work? At the end of the day, Kimmel's suspension and return showed us that these battles are about much more than jokes. They're about how much freedom the media has, how much influence politicians should be allowed to wield, and how willing corporations are to stand up for their own voices. Whether you love or hate Jimmy Kimmel, the story makes you wonder, if a comedian becomes a political battleground, maybe that's proof of just how powerful humor really is.
So what do you think?
Should ABC have stood by Kimmel from the start, or did they do what they had to do? And do you think Trump's team crossed the line by using regulatory threats, or was this just politics as usual? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to keep up with more stories at the intersection of politics and media, don't forget to like this video, share it with a friend, and of course, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next.
See you in the next one.